Guys, going to give you an update on my trades, where I'm at, but I'm also going to start turning the videos as we go into a bear market. I think it'll be quite beneficial for you guys if we turn some of these videos into educational videos. For example, let's have a look at render. Let's have a look at what happened, why I think altcoin season is over for a lot of altcoins, including render. And what I'm going to do in the bear market. Am I going to buy render again? What price am I going to buy it at? Why am I going to buy it there? And what do I think is going to happen to render next cycle? And we'll do this on a lot of altcoins, right? We'll do this on a lot of altcoins. And I think you guys will be able to see what my plan is, what my strategy is. And yeah, let's get into it. So on a shorter time frame, I'm short in render. So you can see on my trades here, should have my render trade. Yeah, render. It's currently around 135% in profit, 230. So we've been taking a lot of shorts on render all the way down. I think I tweeted about this earlier today. Let me just check and see if that loads. Yeah, so still short in render. We started shorting at 1230. And you can see here, we've been taking shorts. Like, I mean, this was dupe, actually. This is dupe. Where's render? AI16Z. So render, like entry 448, right? So we've taken a lot of shorts on the way down. I don't know how much we've made exactly, but I've just been getting in and out of trades kind of all the way down. We started to take profits from render around $12.30. And, I posted here back in March 24, sold 30% of my render to USDC exit bag. I will not be spending this USDC on new altcoins because, first of all, that's the first way a lot of people lose a lot of money. As crypto pumps, they make a lot of money. So I think render was 25x. We got it around 0.54 in 2022 in the bear market. I posted here saying we're seeing some kind of floor. Looks like, it's found a bottom. And so we made around 25x. What a lot of people do is they take that money and then they go and put it in more altcoins, right? They see the next altcoin, like we saw Go popped off and went crazy. So people don't have a lot of money. So what they do is they take profits from one altcoin, they go into the next, and then Go just goes down 90%, right? What was it? A dog with hat. Comes out, they get FOMO, they want to buy it, they take some of their profits and they put it into dog with hat, and that goes down 90%. They lose all their money, right? So the first thing, if you're new this cycle, maybe you made this mistake. I've actually seen people make this mistake in my Discord. If you're new or you got burned, great, right? This is the best way to learn. The best way to learn is to lose money. So if you've done this exact thing and you actually ended up making a loss, congratulations, because that's the best lesson you'll ever get in investing. And I learned the hard way as well, right? I started doing that my first cycle. I made a lot of money in Cardano and ETH, and then I thought I was an expert, right? I thought I was a genius. And I started to go into some other altcoins that looked like they were going to rally. And then I learned how the game works, right? You want to get in at the start. You don't want to start getting in midway or later. I learned that pretty fast. I picked that up pretty fast. So started deploying to the USDC bag. Rule number one, going to do the same thing next cycle. I'm not going to try and time the market. I'm just going to dollar cost average out of the market. I'm happy to sell early. I mean, look, we sold in March 24, and it just happened to be the top of the market, right? 1230 was literally this peak here. We literally sold the top of render. The SMC bot did print a yellow candle around 9 or 10. So if you don't know what the SMC bot is, it's a bot that we use in my Discord. It comes free with the Discord, and it prints yellows around tops, or it tries to print yellows at tops. It doesn't always hit, but it's very, very consistent. So we didn't have this at the time, but looking back on it, yeah, would have been phenomenal for me to hold my short after that yellow, because price never returned back to that yellow. So maybe next cycle I'll even have some better short positions, because instead of just trading and taking profits and looking for new entries, I'll probably next cycle, when I get these yellow candles on a weekly time frame on altcoins, I'll probably just hold them all the way down instead of constantly looking for new trades. Maybe it'll give me confidence to actually go in with bigger size, right? Maybe I go in with bigger size, slightly lower leverage because we've got this wick to worry about, and then just let it run all the way into the bear market. So shorter time frames, what am I doing? So when we come back to the SMC moving average, so this is the daily time frame, so this is the weekly. We're gonna look at this, and I'm gonna give you my bear market targets. But if we look at the SMC on the daily time frame, you see when it comes back to this resistance, It's such a great place for a short entry. Now, obviously, we had the sell signal from the SMC bot, so this is where ideally I want to be shorting. But if I miss this, let's say I'm busy, I didn't spot it, I didn't flick on the chart, then I wait for it to come back to the SMC daily, and this is where I look for entries. And I often use quite high leverage, because when you come back to this red line here, it's quite consistent that it's going to reject here and it's going to tank to the downside. And you can see here perfectly. I mean, if I got in there with pretty high leverage, I could set my stop loss just above, and then it completely melted and tanked to the downside. The SMC bot flagged the sell at 370, and this wick actually came down to 52, which is crazy. So when you get these flushes and these wicks in a space, you often come back and revisit. I think you guys remember when we started to bounce here, I said I wouldn't get too bullish on this bounce, because this wick, it's highly likely that we're just going to come straight back down and retest this wick at some point. Now, obviously, it's probably not going to just do this in a straight line, right? It's going to chop and churn all the way down, as we can see here. It chopped here, chopped a bit here, came back to the SMC daily, and then look how perfectly it came back to the SMC daily here and got rejected for some more downside. And it's probably going to happen again, right? As we roll down, we're probably going to come back and hit the SMC daily and then probably trickle down. So I'm kind of looking at those trades right now. I'm still in my short, and I don't know whether I'll close it and take profits and look for another trade, or whether I'll hold it open. I'm going to keep analyzing the market and see where we go from there. But I mean, look, if we do sort of have another crash down like this, and it looks like we're going to bounce to the SMC daily, then I could potentially take some profits off this trade, or close the trade completely, and then look for another entry when we get back to this SMC daily resistance. On the weekly time frame, beautiful. So let's turn off this pattern that I've drawn. We'll talk about that. So yellow topping candle came back, but look, we also, not only were we rejecting off the SMC daily, we had these lovely weekly retests as well, where we came back to the SMC weekly. Beautiful confluence. We come into this kind of bearish pennant here. See how we're bouncing off the bottom resistance, up the top resistance, bottom resistance, top resistance, and then eventually we started to break below this bearish pennant here. And we can actually work out the technical target from this, right? So if we draw a trend line, probably, I mean, look, probably here is quite conservative. So let's run it from here, and you put this at the start of the break. That's going to give us a technical target of around 16 cents, maybe 16 to 20 cents. The price today is currently $1.60. So does that line up with what we're expecting in a bear market? Well, the all-time high was 12. It wasn't quite 12.30 actually, was it? The all-time, we sold at 12.30, but the all-time high was 12.42. So let's do 12.42. Most altcoins crash by 95%. So let's go 95%. Equals 0.62. Okay, so that's our first technical target. It's a little bit higher than our technical target. So let's go 0.62, horizontal line. I'll explain why I think it's going to go lower than this later in the video. So 0.62, and then a lot of altcoins actually crash by 99%. So let's go 12.42 minus 99% equals 0.12. More on lines with where I'm predicting this is going to come to. So let's go 0.12 for. Let's go 0.1 because it's a big psychological number. Will probably come down to 10 cents. Okay, so 10 cents, $12 to 10 cents is crazy, right? So that would be like my dream goal. Okay, so to come down to 10 cents. It also is not far away from this scam wick that we had when they tried to flush the market. So quite normal. Another reason I think we're going to come down roughly to around 10 cents is because it's not far. It's below where we got in our last cycle, right? So 0.54 is where we got in. So I think we are going to come below because look what happened with altcoins. We detached in sort of November, December, January. We started to detach from the market. We can see that right on this chart of Bitcoin and altcoins. Why did I sell? Why did I start taking profits in March 24? Because I said when Bitcoin gets close to all-time high or hits all-time high, that's my first dollar cost average out, right? So I have 3 DCAs out, 3 sells. I'll probably do 3 sells again next cycle. I don't know. If I update my strategy, I'll let you guys know. 3 sells. I'm not going to try and time the market. I'm going to do 3 sells, probably 33% of my portfolio each sell. And that was March 24. And then we had January 25. And then my last sell was, I think Bitcoin was around 105 or 108k. That was my final sell. So I completely sold my entire portfolio. Apart from Asta, which I'm not sure whether I'm going to sell it yet. I'm probably going to hold it into next cycle. But I'll do a whole video on Asta and why I'm doing that next. Even though I expect it's going to go down, guys, right? I've already taken my initial out of Asta. It's free money now. I can't lose anyway. So this is the moment that I think a lot of traders didn't take the leap here. I think a lot of traders and investors, you got to remember, most humans are optimistic and hopeful, and I don't think they kind of caught on to what happened here. So everything was going perfect, everything was going normal up until this point here. We had more of a pullback than we were supposed to have based on what BTC was doing, right? BTC was basically trickling down and going sideways, but the pullback on altcoins was way too aggressive, okay? It didn't matter until this point here, okay? So you can have an aggressive pullback on altcoins as long as they come back and deliver the returns. Like this is last cycle. Look at the moves last cycle when Bitcoin rallied. As long as they come back and deliver the returns they're supposed to. When we peaked here, this is the moment when I started to sell a lot of my altcoins, and when I said we might not be getting the altcoin season that we expect, because Bitcoin doubled in price and altcoins barely moved. And I literally posted in my Discord, I said, guys, render, Bitcoin's double in price and render is still lower than it was. Huge red flag, right? I think this is the pump where Bitcoin doubled in price, and that was the end of it for me, right? That was the kind of moment of realization that we are probably not going to get an altcoin season, and I need to sell some of my altcoins here. So around $5.36, and we've been detaching ever since, right? I don't know if I have done a deep dive on the many reasons why I think we've detached, but I probably will do that. A lot of it's going to be pump fun, a lot of it's going to be the amount of altcoins and the funnel that's not there no more, but there's so many other reasons, including VCs and the types of people and the types of projects that are being launched. So yeah, I think we are not going to see an altcoin season. The charts have been absolutely decimated. I mean, even if we rally up to the SMC weekly here, we've got to get through this resistance now, which we've already retested multiple times and got rejected, which is usually the sign that you're going to come down. We have to get through this resistance. We have to get through this resistance. We have to get through the SMC weekly, and then we've got even the 50-week moving average as well to get through. It's just very, very not likely, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, guys. It doesn't mean that this is going to happen, but I mean, look, so far the predictions we've been making have been spot on, right? Including the shorts that we took around the top of the market. We've been shorting a lot since, we've been shorting a lot this cycle since most of the peaks, right? So yeah, do you think render can come down to? It might sound crazy, but do you think it can come down to 10 cents? Because I think I think it can. So am I going to buy render again? Well, look, render's still a good project. They're still working. They're still doing lots of events. They're still building. Do I think this is going to run again? Well, we have to ask ourselves a few different questions. What sector is render in? Deep in. Okay, so it's in deep in stroke AI stroke gaming. I don't think we're going to get any kickback off gaming. I think that's completely finished now. And it's deep in its AI. Okay, so there's some hope there, because if we analyze the TradFi market, I think we can all come to the conclusion that AI isn't going anywhere, right? It's not going to be like the dot-com bubble. It's probably going to have a correction, but it's probably not going to disappear and come down 99%, because it's literally replacing humans. And we're seeing companies adopt AI as a measure to replace humans. That AI costs money. There's probably going to be an endless stream of revenue coming into these AI companies as it continues to replace humans, right? Unless it gets banned and the government says you can no longer replace humans with AI, which is probably not going to happen, right? Profit rules. So I don't think deepen's going anywhere. If you've been in crypto a while, what happens with a lot of altcoins is you have new shiny coin syndrome when the altcoin arrives. Render actually got very lucky this last cycle because the AI narrative only hit this cycle. So yeah, we could see AI was starting to brew. Render, normally I wouldn't have gone in so heavy, but we could see AI was starting to brew, and Render was obviously solving a lot of problems that were emerging in the AI sector, including compute power. And it was a perfect project at the perfect time. And now we've been through that deepen rally, right? Deepen was one of the favorite niches and sectors this cycle. Now we've been through that deepen rally. So the question is there going to be another deepen rally that was greater than this? I'm not so sure, guys. I'm just being completely honest with you. I like Render. I think it definitely has potential. I like that people can earn passive income from using it. I'm just going to be completely realistic with you. Even if I buy Render, I'm going to be completely realistic with you and say I don't think it's probably going to hit all-time high again, right? I'm not sure it's going to hit all-time high, but don't forget, if it does come down to 10 cents, this is why I'm going to buy Render, by the way, if we do come down to our targets. If we come down to 10 cents, it's going to be 100x to... it's going to be over 100x to all-time high. And this is where I think Render will really shine. It's because it does tick that AI deepen box. We know that AI deepen's probably not going to go anywhere. It's probably going to be, let's say it's going to be in the top 5, 6, 7 narratives. Do I want to have exposure into the top 5, 6, 7 narratives? Absolutely. And crypto's kind of become a bit of a casino. And what will happen in the bear market is they'll say, Render is now 100x to all-time high, right? At Render at 0.10 cents. And that, I think, is what's going to drive the price of Render and the capital into Render and the flows into Render. As well as, it's not the worst project, right? It's probably got one of the best use cases in crypto. There just has been a drop in demand for compute power, and the companies that are offering compute power managed to offer lower prices, larger volumes, and there was more and more options there. They really, and the data centers were just getting, the money going into data centers has just been wild, right? So there is still a market there. There is a lot of competition. It doesn't stop Render from having a game-changing partnership that maybe takes it to potentially all-time high. So there's your hope, right? So then you have some hopium, is that even though we don't think Render can go back to all-time high, like our community, right? We don't think it can go back to all-time high. There's a chance that it could, right? If it has the right partnerships, or maybe there's a problem. Maybe there's a solution to the data privacy issue that decentralized rendering raised. Maybe there's a solution there. Maybe it does go to all-time high. So there is some hope there for 100x plus. But you've got that machine of investors, that community that understands that, wow, Render was over $10. It's now 10 cents. I'm buying a bag because this could hit 100x. The beautiful thing about this as well is that a lot of people, what do we know about humans? They get greedy. Pigs get slaughtered. A lot of people who buy Render next cycle are not going to sell, right? Everyone was calling us idiots for selling at 12.30. The bull run doesn't end until Q4 2025, right? Eric Trump said Q4 is going to be incredible. Brian Armstrong said we're long Bitcoin. Coinbase said altcoin season's coming. And, we got called idiots for selling here. Even the Render maxis loved me. The Render accounts were all following me, right? Because I was team Render. And they all stopped following me when I started selling, and they held their bags all the way down. The same thing happens, right? People get greedy and they don't take profits. And I think the same thing will probably happen next cycle. So, look, if Render comes down to my target, now you've probably seen me say this before, I'm either early or I'm skipping, right? Am I getting a really good discount? Has it come down a lot? Okay, well, if I'm not early, I'm going to skip. And if I am early, I'm going to bag and I'm going to put some money into it. How much am I going to deploy? That's something that I'll post to my community. When I buy, I'll post to my community. You'll probably find out that I've bought after I've made a 2 or 3x, right? And that's when I kind of share it with everybody else so that you guys can't front run us. and word of mouth doesn't go around that we're about to deploy, because we've got quite a big community, so we're putting millions and millions of dollars into these things, right? So that's kind of my strategy. And if I can get it at 0.10 cents, what's my target? Well, it only really has to go to $1 for me to hit 10x. Okay, so if it goes to $1, I've made a 10x, and if it goes to $2, I've made a 20x, right? This is the power of buying in the bear market. This is the power of buying in the bear market. The gains can really get crazy. And it only needs to get to $2 if I hit my target. It only needs to get to $2 to make a 20x. And what are retail going to be saying? What is everyone who's new going to be saying? What are the KOLs going to be saying? They're going to be saying render hit $12 last cycle. It's going to hit $25. Yet at $2, I've made phenomenal life-changing money, right? So that's kind of my thesis this cycle. It was basically my thesis last cycle, and it kind of played out. We started to sell around 25x. It just happened to be the top. Now I thought render could go higher, because at the time we didn't see that detachment, right? This was where I took profits, and I just took profits to stay safe, right? Pigs get slaughtered. I've hit my target that I wanted to hit. I'm going to leave a moon bag in, and then I started to take some more profits from this peak here. But I didn't know this was going to happen until really about when Bitcoin doubled in price and altcoins only went up 2, 3, 4x. This is where I started to sell a lot of altcoins, right? And this is where I also called a top on some altcoins, because I kind of said we're detaching from Bitcoin. You see here, I put Sui topped. I think this is exactly where Sui topped. Yeah, look, Sui topped. Check back in a few months. Buy alert 0.85, sell alert 4.5. Yeah, look at this. January 2025. This was the moment I realized that we are detaching from Bitcoin. And this is where I said Sui should be higher, render should be higher, all these altcoins we're in should be higher. I'm selling, I'm getting out, right? And that's the moment they're detached. So another reason we might not hit all-time highs is because of the detachment from altcoins this cycle. We might not see the 50, 100, 200x gains that we saw last cycle on a lot of altcoins. So our targets are potentially going to be lower for next cycle, right? And I say lower, I mean, I don't know if anyone's going to complain about making a 10, 20, 30x, right? I just think you're going to have to make money next cycle. We're going to have to be very, very strategic with our snipes, with our buys, with our floors, buying the bottoms, trying to take profits at the right time, because I think it's going to be a lot harder next cycle. So if I put 10k in, if render comes down to my target and I put 10k in, and it does 20x, brilliant. I make 200k. That's if it hits the $2. Obviously, if you're trading with 1k, that's 20k. So then maybe you make 20k, and then in your next cycle you try and 10x that or 20x that. That's 20x 20k is 400k, right? So money makes money, and if you get 2 cycles right, let's say you buy the bottom of an altcoin in this bear market, you turn 1k into 20k. This is just one trade, by the way, right? It's just one altcoin. You might have 20 altcoins or 10 altcoins or whatever. And then in your next cycle, you smash the bottom of the next bear market and you turn 20k into 400k. Just 2 trades change your life, right? From 1k to 400k is just simply 2 trades, and your entire life has changed. This is why I love this space, right? And the beautiful thing about it is you can only lose that 1k trying to do that. And we've just proved that it's possible, right? By 0.54. Wait 1 year. It was literally, so September 2022, and then we sold, we started selling it. We hit 25x or 30x around 10th of March. So yeah, like less than 2 years, change your life, right? It really is possible. It's hard. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it really is possible. And then obviously that's with 10k, and then if I put 100k in. So let's say I put 100k into render at 0.10. 10x to $1 million, and then 20x to $2 million. So it only needs to go to $2 for me to hit $2 million. So I kind of like that risk reward And also, if it's down 99%, so if render comes down 99%, this is the beautiful thing about the bear market, guys, that people don't really understand, is that if it comes down 99%, let's say I hit my target, we start to get some sideways action like we did last time. And I say, look, it's really come down a lot. We're starting to get a lot of sideways action, finding some kind of floor. If I start to see the same things we saw last cycle and it's down 99%, then what am I thinking? How much lower can render go, especially in a bull market, right? This is the beautiful thing about the bear market. People get scared and sell down here. But to me, I'm thinking the only way is up from here, right? You're down 99%. I mean, you could come down 99.1. You could come down 99.3. But the odds are at some point or another, someone is going to, even if render doesn't have any fundamentals, or let's say the adoption is just dropping off a cliff, someone is going to pump this in a deep in rally. Someone is going to pump deep in. There's so many deep in projects. There's going to be a deep in narrative at some point. And, I only need render to do this to turn 100K into $2 million. Or 10K to $200K. I don't need render to do this, right? Because I've been strategic, because I've taken profits and I've been patient and I've waited and I've waited and I've waited. And, making money is just an exchange of wealth from the impatient to the patient. And that's why I'm being extremely patient. Not only that, we've made a lot of money shorting on the way down, right? So I don't even know how much money we've made shorting render. But not only did we make 25x on the way up, but who knows, maybe we can make 25x on the way down as well. So yeah, it's been really nice. We're going to do some more. I'll do some more videos like this with setups and things I'm looking for. If you're still holding altcoins, look, this is probably not what you want to hear. You're probably not going to want to follow me, but just remember, you don't want to hear this, right? Because you have hope. You want your render to pump. You want your render to go to the upside and do this. So that's why we follow the Moon Boys. That's why we follow everyone who's given us hope and optimism, is because we want to believe it. We want to believe it so much that we even start to ignore charts, right? We start to ignore bots that are telling us to sell and take profits. We start to ignore TA. We start to ignore the data, the market cycles. We start to ignore everything that's happening because we want to make money. We want it to go back up. But pigs get slaughtered. And this cycle, this moment is where the whole space changed. Guys, if you don't want to miss out on any of these videos, I'm going to be doing lots of educational videos about how I trade. This is just my strategy. It doesn't mean this is what works for everyone else. Look, someone might buy the bottom of render and it might go into 100x, right? Great, good for them. That's definitely possible. This is just my strategy to get to $100 million. And I'm not taking too many risks, too many gambles. I'm not getting stuck in hope or optimism. I'm just trying to make 10 to 20x at each cycle. And if I can do that on a low risk strategy, I will hit $100 million in a few more cycles. Well, probably 2 more cycles. So that's just my strategy. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. Maybe you've been holding render and you believe in it long term and you're just going to DCA at $10, at $5, at $1. That's your strategy, right? This logically makes the most sense to me. And none of this is financial advice, right? So do your own research. Investing in anything, including crypto, is highly risky. You can lose all of your money at any point whatsoever. I'm not a financial advisor, so always do your own research first. Guys, if you want to join us and you want to get my buy and sell alerts, you want to see my buy alerts, my take profit alerts, or my leverage trades, because obviously I post all my leverage trades here. You can see my account now. This is going crazy. I put I don't know how much I put on here. It wasn't much, but it's already equity $168,000 now. And obviously I've got shorts on other exchanges as well. So yeah, we've been absolutely printing this cycle. And I think we're going to continue to print. So if you want to join us, if you want to jump in the Discord, you also get this SMC bot for free, which gives the yellow signals when you potentially come into tops and gives these buy and sell signals. If you want to get that comes free with the Discord. So head over to my Twitter and then search this link here, not the top one, the bottom one. Press this, and then that's going to drag you into the Patreon, and then you can join the Discord, and you can see all of my trades and what we're doing, what trades we're taking. Loads of people online, always looking for new trade setups and new altcoins and stocks. We're also looking for stocks as well. Big up Gino, 325% on that ZEC short. So we opened a ZEC short around 697 the other day. GG's bro, 25x as well. Absolutely killed it. It's come down a lot more, so he might even be in more profits now. Big up Gino, is one of our lifetime members. 91 old school soldier, 324% on the Sui short. Congratulations. A-star, 330%, sorry, on the ETH short. GG. So we're shorting ETH as well. We're nearly at my target. I think we still come a little bit lower, but I am planning to take some more profit soon, because I think ETH is going to hit my technical target. Big up Arthur, printing. BTC short, 298%. ETH, 149%. Solana, 203. Crazy gains. GG's, bro. These are some of my trades that I've been taking. I got into this recently. I think it's come down more. 38%, 139% on Render, 143 World Liberty Finance, XRP 175, Ethereum 236, Sui 476. We've been shorting Sui a few times as well because we started to sell, didn't we, near the all-time high. BTC, absolutely crazy. Also, I got some shorts on Aster exchange as well. So, practice what you preach. I'm going to continue to use Aster all into the bear market and next bull run. $39,000 on that BTC short. I took some profits off this, by the way, because it started to get really crazy. XRP, I took some profits off that as well. But yeah, looking good, guys. PAB 72%. Chalky printing. Beba Booster absolutely printing. The guys have been making a kidney. I love to see you guys make money, man. I love to see you guys winning. And are we going to win every trade? Absolutely not. We're going to go through periods where we hit some stop losses. Maybe we get some trades wrong. But using the SMC bot has really saved us from getting on the wrong side of the market. Especially with these on the daily time frames. It's so useful for resistance lines because the altcoin starts pumping and you think, oh, we're going to go up, we're going up, we're going to bounce here. And then you get the sell signal and I just flip. When I get the sell signal, even if I'm bullish, I listen to the bot because the bot doesn't get sucked into euphoria, despair. It's not listening to all the KOLs on socials. It's not watching YouTube videos. It literally trades basically on human emotion, and more often than not, that it's going to be right in the end. And look, if you were bullish here, you got absolutely wrecked, right? But if you looked at the bot and you took the bot signal, then you've been on the right side of the trade all the way from $3.70 down to $1.65, which is huge returns with some leverage, right? So yeah, if you want to join us, jump in the Discord, the Patreon. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the YouTube video so you don't miss out on any of these. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know where you think Render's going to go. Until then, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.